With me in studio, digital media specialist Siyabonga Africa. Siya, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Natasha.
Okay, let's start with that mass shooting in Las Vegas. An awful story. Just another gun-related tragedy in the United States. What was the sentiment on social media?
Yeah, definitely a sad time. It was actually noted as one of the saddest days on social media that day, according to a study. A lot of thoughts and prayers coming out from both sides, from locally and internationally in the United States. President Trump went on air and called this an act of evil, carefully avoiding to say anything about gun control or labeling it a domestic terrorism, an act of domestic terrorism. So definitely a sad one. Lots of people, being very sad. People also questioning, why is it that another act like this continues to happen without there being any strong gun legislation being enacted by Congress. So I think the United States finds itself in that impasse where they can't do anything about it, even though they want to, and we'll basically be waiting for the next one.
I mean, just the fact that he had a number of guns and ammunition with him in his hotel room. I mean, how do you even get that past security? I mean, one has to question their gun laws and their gun control.
Yeah, interestingly enough, the NRA came out with a statement yesterday about bringing in new laws to regulate just attachments to guns, which will make them automatic. So some people see that as basically a step forward, but they are one of the biggest lobbying groups who try to keep gun legislation away from the table when it comes to these kinds of acts.
Yeah. Okay, let's bring it back home now. The Jacob Zuma monument. We saw the president dedicating that site at Groot Mariko. What was the reaction to that?
Yeah, that one was very interesting. People were, Black Twitter came out in full force yesterday. Some people were gawking at the price tag, 6 million rand for the statue, and people were, of course, looking at the quality of it and what it looked like. But a lot of people also were really negative because of, what they perceive as being a monument being erected for a president who has overseen dire situation taking over South Africa, and also the fact that, the government is not really reaching their mandate of providing free healthcare, free education and housing and jobs for the people. So to erect a monument to a sitting president who has basically seen this situation arise, a lot of people were not happy with that. So definitely it kind of shy towards the negative side more than anything else. And
also that area, I mean, struggling with jobs and lack of water and poor roads. It's, that it does seem like a waste of money.
Yeah, I mean, the opposition definitely led with that, and they were very quick to say, that this shouldn't have been done, and this is before it was even unveiled, when they actually started mentioning that it was being built. So the debate around it has been going on for some time, and people are definitely looking at it and eyeing it as just another monument that potentially could be torn down after the president's term is over, a la Stalin and Saddam Hussein. So we've yet to see what will happen with that.
All right, and then also yesterday, the Democratic Alliance marched to the Gupta household in Saxonwold, and that one sign that Mmusi Maimane put up on the back of that monument was, what did it say? This outside the Saxonwold house.
Yes.
Just in response to that, to President Zuma unveiling that site.
Yes, they basically were saying that the Gupta household in Saxonwold is the site of state capture and the real monuments to President Jacob Zuma. So they led with that. Yesterday was of course rainy, and so some people were like questioning, will this happen? But they pressed on. Mmusi Maimane, did deliver his speech outside of the household. And there were some interesting reactions. A lot of people were trying to link the DA's march to White Monopoly Capital, so you could say that those were trolls, possibly. And at the same time, a lot of people were making light or being cynical of the fact that the majority of marchers were black. When you look at the parliamentary caucus for the Democratic Alliance being predominantly white, so it was kind of an antithesis. Like, why are all the black people marching in the rain and all the white people are nice and cozy inside of parliaments?
Okay, let's move on. Oscar Pistorius, the Blade Runner killer. Earlier this week, the trailer for the Blade Runner killer came out. A bit of a surprise?
Yeah, that one was definitely a surprise for all. I remember getting a notification for it in my office, and I thought it was a joke. But it did make Oscar Pistorius trend this past week. A lot of negative sentiment towards it. I mean, both families, the Riva Steenkamp family and the Oscar Pistorius family, saying that they had not been consulted. And we have to note, yes, and we have to note that the TV network that made this biopic, Lifetime, has a habit of making unsanctioned biopics, like the one for Brittany Murphy, who was a celebrity as well in the United States. Some people basically were saying that the production value looks bad, especially with regards to the accents. They used American actors, not anyone South African, though I doubt anyone would want to take up the role. And yeah, people were just, wondering, is it not too soon? They were wondering, will Oscar get a payday out of this? So it wasn't really met with the enthusiasm that, one would think something like this would be met. And also others just wondering, will this really shine a light on what really happened on that fateful Valentine's Day in 2014?
I personally think it's far too soon. But anyway.
Definitely.
All right, Sia, thank you so much for that. Siyabonga Africa with us going through our social media trends for this week.